Hey everyone, today we're going to talk about going back to work and the top 10 of my best going back to work pumping tips. Number 1, pack the night before. You want to make sure that you have all of your pump parts ready to go, clean, and ready for you to use them. Set up your collection kit ahead of time so that when you get to work for the first pump of the day, you don't have to mess around with anything, and it minimizes your chances of forgetting something if you're rushing around in the morning. So that brings me to tip number 2. Keep a spare collection kit in your desk or in your car. So that means the whole collection kit. And for some of those like wearable pumps, that might be a little expensive to do, but you want to make sure that you have at least a spare set of the little pieces, the valves, the membranes, those things that are essential for the functioning of the pump. A spare set of tubing, because even just the tiniest little pinprick hole in one of your tubes is going to completely ruin the suction. You want to make sure that you have enough storage bags and bottles. So it's a good idea to keep extra parts in your desk or in your car, somewhere where you can easily get them if you get all set up to start pumping and realize that something is missing or something is not working correctly. Because that's the worst, is getting stuck and not having one of those little valve pieces, like the duckbill valves, and having to then just sit and pump on one side and then pump on the other side, or hand express, because it's just not working out for whatever reason. It's a great idea to have an extra collection kit. Number 3, for cleaning your pump at work, it is so much simpler and very effective to use pump cleaning wipes. You can also get like the bottle pacifier cleaning wipes, the things that are safe for baby to put in their mouth after, I think they're usually baking soda wipes. Those are great to use for cleaning your pump parts. You want to make sure that you get all of the pieces, every single bit that touches the milk, clean and wiped off, and try to make sure that they're dry enough when you put them back in your pump bag or in your wet bag, or a zipper plastic bag. That way, it minimizes the chances of them getting funky and gross in between pump sessions, and you don't have to worry about all your stuff getting all milky. Now, an alternative to buying pump cleaning wipes is to do the fridge hack. So the fridge hack is when you put your milky collection kit after pumping in a wet bag or a zipper plastic bag and put it in the refrigerator, or a cooler bag with an ice pack. So you can use a wet bag, the wet dry bag, to keep your collection kit in. Just stick them in there, zip it up and stick it in the fridge. Or you can use a big gallon freezer bag. That will all work great, and it'll help keep your pump parts from getting smelly or allowing that milk that's left in them to spoil in between your pump sessions. So with either of these methods, with using pump cleaning wipes in between sessions at work or using the fridge hack in between pump sessions at work, make sure you are washing all of your pump parts, all your collection kit, every single day. Now, that doesn't mean that you necessarily have to sterilize them every day, unless your baby is, premature, immunocompromised, or you're working somewhere that there's a lot of exposure to different germs, like in a healthcare or hospital setting. In that case, you may want to sanitize all your parts once you get home. Number 4, keep a spare power source. Keep it with you in your car, in your desk, somewhere. Or keep a backup like little battery pack with spare batteries in your pump bag, because you don't want to be without power for your pump, because that kind of completely defeats the point. Unless you're one of those people who responds much better to a manual pump or hand expression, it's going to be a wise choice to keep a spare power source, whether it's one of the power outlet like plug ins that goes in the wall for your like a traditional pump, or a battery pack charger for pumps that are battery powered. You know, you want one of those little power banks, anything like that that can save you in a pinch. Definitely keep one of those in your pump bag. And little bonus tip here, get a bag that you love. A pump bag that brings you joy. Because like when I was pumping with my first, it was like a big ugly canvas bag that just, the pump was kind of built into it, and it was like super ugly, and it was embarrassing. It was embarrassing carrying that like to class. I was in college at the time. It was embarrassing for me. I was like, people are gonna think like, what's wrong with that girl carrying like a purse and a bag with books and this weird canvas tote, you know? And thankfully today we have so many more options. So get a bag that you really, really love. Something that looks pretty, that, you know, people are gonna compliment you on, and that always kind of makes you feel good, you know, when you have a nice bag that can carry all your stuff, keep you organized, and that looks really nice, that you feel good about carrying. That makes all the difference in your pump sessions. Number 5 is a big one. Use your pump settings to your advantage. So generally I recommend pumping for at least 2 letdowns. And this can be a little bit tricky if you don't feel your milk letting down. So you really have to pay attention to, you know, hearing if the milk is dripping into the bottle, or hearing the milk kind of spraying to the back of the like the tunnel of the flange. You want to really pay attention, or just check in, look and see if that milk is dripping and flowing. You want to pay attention to those things, just to make sure that you aren't inadvertently wasting time during your pump sessions. So a lot of times when we are nursing babies, we will feel or notice the first letdown, but maybe not the second or the third or the fourth letdown, because there is less milk with each of those letdowns. So when you're pumping, if you pump for a long period of time, you're probably going to have that first letdown within the first couple of minutes of pumping. And then that milk is going to slowly stop. You know, it's going to drip, 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 and then stop once that letdown is done. And then you're probably going to continue pumping for a longer period until your body lets down again. And that can take a while if you are just keeping on the same pump setting. So what I always recommend is playing with your pump ahead of time. Play with the cycles, see what works best for you. With a lot of pumps, and this is the Medela Pump and Style with Max Flow. This is the newer one. They have this little letdown button right here. It's like the little droplet. I know on Spectra pumps, I think people call it the bacon button. It's like the wavy one. Some pump manufacturers call it like massage mode or letdown mode. It is the shorter, faster cycle. So it's the less suction, but very fast cycles through that kind of stimulates the baby, very like frantically nursing, trying to get the milk to let down. So on these generic ones here, that is the heart button, I believe. Let's see. So this is what normal. I don't know if you can hear it. Yeah, that's normal, that little droplet one here. But this one here is the massage mode. So you can hear it. Those are very short little suction pulses there. So that is what you want to go with in the beginning of your pump sessions until you feel or hear that milk letting down. And then you can switch it to that longer, more suction, slower cycles. And with this, obviously you just press the little droplet button that will switch it back. It's not focusing. But on like the Medela, you would just press the same letdown button again, and that will switch back to those longer cycles. Now, after you notice that the milk from the first letdown has slowed down, stopped, and it's been a minute or so, and you're not seeing or feeling any more milk coming out, then you go ahead and press that massage or letdown button again to stimulate that second letdown. So that faster, shorter cycles, that's going to help your body let down sooner than if you were to just let the pump keep going and going and going. Because if you just let the pump keep going and going on those slow, long cycles, that's not necessarily going to stimulate another letdown because your body is going to get used to it. Especially when you're just pumping on the same setting for 30 minutes. Like that's a long, long time to be pumping, and a lot of pumps manually or automatically shut off at 30 minutes because it's not good to pump that long. Not all in a row, you know. If your pump for some reason doesn't have a way to control that letdown cycle, that it just automatically does it when you turn the pump on, and then you can't switch back and forth, it just automatically goes to the cycles itself, then go ahead after that first letdown stops and turn that off and wait a minute and then turn it back on so you can get that letdown cycle again. Number 6, when you're pumping at work, it can be really stressful. So something to help the milk let down is to use relaxation techniques. So those really deep, slow breaths. That try to make your exhale longer than your inhale and breathe all the way down into your belly. Try to really release that stress. Be really mindful of your breathing and try to let go of the stress of the workday. You can listen to relaxing music. There's actually studies shown that listening to classical or instrumental music while pumping increases milk flow and you know, the amount of milk that is expressed. So it's always worth a shot. There are also great guided meditations that are specific for pumping and nursing, and other ones that are specific for, you know, just parenting. And those can be really, really helpful to listen to while you're pumping, especially if you work a very high stress job or things just aren't going your way. If you're having a hard time, especially being back to work for the first time, being away from your baby for the first time, it can be really, really hard. And that stress and that distress can make it more difficult for the milk to let down to begin with. So those mindful relaxation, intentional relaxation techniques can really be helpful in kind of doing a manual override on your stress, you know, and you want to bring that cortisol level down so you can relax a bit, let the milk flow. Number 7, look at pictures or watch videos of your baby. This can help the milk flow even better, especially if they're really cute videos or even videos of your baby nursing, if your baby latches. That can help kind of trick your brain and your body into releasing that milk much easier than if you were just sitting there and mindlessly scrolling Facebook, which was always kind of what I did. And if that, you know, works for you, take your pump time as your you time. Do something that you really would like to do. This is another bonus tip. This is not something that I had originally planned to talk about, but pumping can be grueling. You know, it's like, it can be really difficult, especially if you're already working and then you have to go do this second job while you're still working of expressing milk. So try to make it something that's not, you know, so boring or, you know, time consuming by reading a book that you want to read, watching a show on your phone, listening to a podcast, watching funny YouTube videos. All those things are a great way to spend your pumping time, that if it's really, really unpleasant for you, those things can help make it a little bit better. Number 8, use hands-on pumping. If you are having trouble getting enough milk to express, and that's, you know, that's really common because pumps don't remove milk as efficiently as babies do. If you're exclusively pumping, then you're a pro. You know what you're doing here. But sometimes we need a little bit more help, and doing some breast massage while you're pumping, even just placing your hands on your breast to just kind of warm them up and just do a little bit of gentle massage or compressions while you're pumping is going to help encourage more milk to flow, get a little bit more milk out than if you were just pumping and just letting it do its thing. And that's gonna help boost your supply if you're struggling with it and get that little bit of extra milk. Number 9, keep snacks and water in your pump bag. Like good snacks. Snacks that you really like, whether it's, you know, a couple pieces of chocolate or, you know, a protein bar. Protein bar is a good idea. Granola bars, things that have a lot of protein, trail mix, because that protein and that calcium is so great for helping your milk supply, because milk is a blood product and you need a lot of iron and calcium to make that milk. So protein, iron, calcium, these are all great things to help keep you energized, prevent that little like afternoon slump. Plus it gives you a little bit of like feel good, dopamine, oxytocin, because you're snacking. It gives you that stimulation. And plus it can be really hard to remember to eat during the workday, especially if you are neurodivergent in any way. It's hard to pull yourself away when you're in the zone and you're working. And so you can take your pump breaks as a reminder that you need to eat and nourish your body, especially when your body also is in charge of nourishing someone else. And keep water with you. Always drink water. Sometimes I swear just getting a drink of water would help my body let down, because I don't know what it was, just something. It was like, it was a relaxation thing. It was like I was taking a deep breath and just getting a drink of water. And it was just the signal that my body needed to say, okay, we're in a safe place, we're relaxing, we can let the milk down. That's, you know, 2 birds with 1 stone. You're keeping yourself nourished and hydrated, and you're pumping. So it's a win-win. And number 10, use technology to your advantage. Set timers and reminders on your phone, on your computer, on your watch, something that is going to remind you when it's time to pump and when it's been like 20 minutes that you've been pumping. You need some way to keep track of that time, because if you're like me and you're spending that time either scrolling, reading things online, or watching videos, then it's really, really easy to lose track of time. And suddenly you've sat there for a half an hour because you were involved in this story you were reading. And then you're like, oh crap, I didn't even realize it. So it's a great idea to keep track. There are pumping trackers that sometimes are specific to the pump manufacturer, but there are other ones that you can keep track of, just like regular, like baby tracker ones. And you can put in the time that you've pumped, how long you pumped, how many ounces you get. And that can be nice to look at, to see trends over time, to see if there's a time when you generally make more or generally make less. And that can be really helpful to look at over time also, if you ever get concerned and think, oh, I feel like I'm not making enough, or my breasts suddenly don't feel full. Then you can look back and see, are you pumping the same or just a little bit more, a little bit less? And that's a good thing to be able to compare. So those are my best tips for going back to work and pumping. And you got a couple bonuses in there. I know it says 10. I planned on 10, but then, you just get in front of the camera and start talking. And remember these things that you didn't write down ahead of time. So I hope they're really helpful to you. If you have other tips that you want to share, drop them in the comments. I would love to hear them. If this was helpful to you or you want to see more videos like this, please hit the like button. And I would appreciate it if you subscribed. If you got it all the way to the end of the video, like, you're awesome. And I know that I have a lot more content that would be helpful to you. If you want to see my video on packing your pump bag, go right over here. I think I did it the right way this time. Watch this video over here. I will link it there so you can see exactly a quick how to pack your pump bag for going back to work. All right. I hope that you have a wonderful day, and remember that your worth is not measured in ounces and you are doing a great job. Thanks very much. Bye.